Can you imagine being forced to sell your own body at just 16? Stay tuned for a heart-wrenching story of sacrifice and redemption. Her aunt explained last night that the new job she wants Alyssa to do is to sell her own body. Aunt Ellen said plenty of men are interested in her because, at 16, she already has a shapely figure and a bright future ahead of her. Even though she grew up poor, she has soft skin inherited from her mother, as well as her mother's gentle face, so she's pretty even without trying. That must be why men are interested in her at such a young age. Stop it, her aunt yells at her, hitting her on the shoulder. Alyssa winces and cries even harder. Crying like that won't solve anything, Alyssa. We need money, or we'll be kicked out of here. You don't want to end up living on the streets, do you? Don't you care about Jake? Aunt Ellen shouts, losing her patience. But Aunt Ellen, I'm really scared, she insists. Your fear won't solve our problems, Alyssa. Do it for your brother. Do it for both your educations. You know I can't support you. I have no stable job, just a few laundry gigs. You're the only one who can help us, help your brother, Aunt Ellen retorts. Alyssa sinks down on the wooden step, sobbing. It's a mix of fear and hurt toward her aunt. She knows they're poor and often can't eat 3 times a day, but she never imagined her aunt would push her to sell her body for money. She knows many people do it, but she's too young for such a thing. Besides, what would become of her afterward? Sis, where are you and Aunt going? Jake asks, seeing that she's all dressed up. I'm going to apply for a job, she lies, avoiding her brother's gaze because he might notice her swollen eyes from crying and sense that she's not telling the truth. Don't worry, sis. When I grow up, I'll be the one to work for you and Aunt Grace, Jake says, smiling. Of course, Jake. Just do your best in school, okay? I will, sis. Alyssa. Alyssa. Let's go. Aunt Ellen shouts from downstairs. Jake, we're leaving for a bit, Alyssa calls out to her brother. We bought your favorite sausages. Make sure you eat a lot, okay? Then she hurries down the stairs. You look beautiful, Alyssa, Aunt Ellen remarks while adjusting Alyssa's headband. In truth, Alyssa hasn't done much. She's only wearing the modest dress Aunt Ellen told her to wear. It's not too revealing, and the length is decent enough that she's still comfortable. You'll look even prettier after we do some styling, Aunt Ellen adds as they walk out of the tiny house they rent. Thank you, Alyssa. I'm glad you agreed, her aunt says cheerfully while waiting for a taxi. Alyssa just sighs and gives a hesitant smile. She has thought it through and promised herself this would be the only time she sells her body, never to repeat it. She doesn't want to end up like Chloe, who turned it into a permanent livelihood, selling herself to any random man. Chloe is 3 years older than she is and was also forced into this at an early age. Alyssa refuses to become like her. What happens when a mysterious stranger offers Alyssa a way out? Will she escape her aunt's plan, or is this just the beginning of her troubles? Keep watching to find out on Dark Voices. Aunt Ellen, who exactly did you talk to about buying me? She asks after nearly half an hour of standing on the corner near a large convenience store, an AA convenience store. Just wait, her aunt answers, irritated. He said something came up with his wife. Alyssa grimaces at that reply, suddenly certain that whoever is buying her must be an older man. She feels upset that her first time is likely going to be with someone old. Excuse me, says a voice that grabs their attention. They turn around to see a tall, well-built man in sunglasses, making it impossible for Alyssa to see his eyes. He wears a plain white t-shirt and black pants, simple clothes, but his posture reveals he comes from money. Yes? Aunt Ellen asks bluntly, eyeing the man standing before them. Are you here looking for a customer? The man inquires. Aunt Ellen frowns. Oh, are you interested? She pulls Alyssa by the arm. This is Alyssa's first time doing anything like this. My niece is a virgin, Aunt Ellen says proudly. Alyssa gasps in mortification. Aunt, please, she hisses, glancing shyly at the handsome man in front of them. How much? The man asks, removing his sunglasses. Alyssa gulps when she sees how unbelievably handsome he is. He's probably not much older than she is. This is her first time seeing him in their town. Then again, Riverdale is a big place, and someone like him must not be that easy to come by. He might be the most handsome person she's ever seen in her entire life. Name a price, handsome, Aunt Ellen answers, pinching the man's arm. I can pay a lot, especially if she's a virgin, he replies. What did he say? Aunt Ellen whispers to Alyssa, then turns back to the man, who repeats, I can pay any amount, especially since she's still a virgin, and I'll be her first customer. Alyssa feels uneasy about the direction of their conversation. Her eyes widen when she hears what the man says about paying $2,000 for her. Is he out of his mind, spending so much just to have her? $2,000? Aunt Ellen blurts in shock. Yes, I'll pay that much for her, the man says, giving Alyssa a quick glance. Embarrassed, she averts her gaze. Are you sure? Aunt Ellen asks to confirm. Yes, here, take this $200 first. He opens his wallet and pulls out two $100 bills, handing them to Aunt Ellen, whose eyes widen. Her hands tremble as she takes the money. Alyssa sighs. She's embarrassed by how obvious her aunt is in her excitement over money. That's just the initial payment, the man says. Later tonight, I'll give you the remaining amount. He glances again at Alyssa, who stays silent, letting them handle the transaction. She's confused why he would pay such a large sum for her, especially since someone who looks like him shouldn't have any trouble finding a woman. He's handsome and obviously wealthy. Surely, many women would throw themselves at him for free. Still, she goes with it. She has to. She settles nervously in the front seat of the man's fancy car, watching how her aunt's face lights up. Who wouldn't be thrilled, holding $200 with the promise of $1,800 more to come? It's the largest amount of money Aunt Ellen has ever handled. Alyssa shrugs and looks at the man who bought her, not knowing his name or who he is. Why would he pay so much? He must be wealthy enough that $2,000 is nothing but spare change to him. Enjoy, Alyssa. You're so lucky, her aunt whispers before the car starts moving. Feeling shy, Alyssa glances at the man driving. He's no longer wearing his sunglasses, allowing her to openly admire his good looks. She lowers her gaze, wondering why he decided to buy her from her aunt. Who is this man who purchased Alyssa? Is he truly going to be a lucky charm in her life? Ethan is so handsome that many women must be chasing after him. He also has a fancy car, definitely expensive. Countless times, Alyssa's mind has tried to make sense of all this. What's your name? He asks while driving. Your name? Alyssa. Alyssa Moore, she answers nervously, lowering her head. How old are you? 16, she replies. Why are you doing this kind of job? What? Alyssa stammers, pretending she didn't catch that last question just to buy some time to think of an answer. How long have you been doing this? Ethan asks, eyes on the road. Not long, she quickly says, shaking her head vigorously. I don't normally do this. I really don't want to, but Aunt Ellen can't think of another way. We're several months behind on rent, so our landlord is about to throw us out. My brother and I have nowhere else to go. She breaks down in tears while explaining. You have a brother? Ethan asks, glancing at her. Yes, Jake. He's 10 and in 4th grade. He can't work yet, so I'm the only one who can earn money for both of us, she says, tears still falling. So, you mean you have no choice, which is why you're doing this? Ethan clarifies as he turns onto a broad avenue. They pass elegant homes. This must be Anderson Real Estate, a famous development where only the wealthy can afford to live. Even though she's poor, Alyssa has heard of this exclusive subdivision. I have no choice, she says, wiping her tears. Once they're inside, she's struck by the perfectly manicured lawns and flowers lining the road. Wow, Alyssa whispers. It's so beautiful here. Is this where you live? Yes, this is Anderson Real Estate. I live here with my mom, dad, and 2 brothers, he explains, and her eyes grow even wider. You're from a wealthy family. No wonder you can just spend $2,000, she mutters, amazed. Yeah, but I didn't buy you, Alyssa, Ethan says, for the first time calling her by name. The way he says it affects her in an unfamiliar way. I saved you, Alyssa. Her jaw drops as she stares at his handsome face. She doesn't understand what he means by that. We're here, he says, snapping her out of her daze. She looks out the window and gapes at the enormous, beautiful estate they're entering. There are several cars, all obviously high-end, parked by the colossal house. You live here? Yeah, with my mom, dad, and my 2 brothers, he repeats, stepping out of the car. This is incredible, she murmurs, hesitant to open the door because she doesn't know how. She's never been in a car before. Before she can panic, Ethan opens it from the outside. Thank you. I didn't know how to open it, she says, embarrassed. It's okay, he says, leading her inside. Are you sure it's okay for me to come in? She asks, anxious. She feels so out of place in this palace-like mansion. Why wouldn't it be? This is my house. Alyssa can't think of a response, so she just follows him. She marvels at everything she sees, each corner more lavish than anything in her experience. It's beautiful here, she says excitedly, momentarily forgetting why she's actually there. When they step inside, an older woman in a uniform greets them. She smiles at Ethan and then looks at Alyssa with curiosity, as though trying to figure out who she is. Good afternoon, Mr. Ethan, the older woman says politely, giving Alyssa a wary glance. Is your mom here, sir? Dad's not home yet, but Mom's here with the Dion family in the gazebo, right? Ethan asks. The older lady, who must be the housekeeper, nods. Yes, sir. Your dad isn't here yet, but your mom and the Dions are out in the gazebo, the older lady confirms. She glances again at Alyssa, still puzzled about who she might be. Oh, and is Mia there? Yes, sir. Miss Mia is with them. I see. I'll head upstairs first, Nanny. Please let them know I'm here, Ethan instructs. He takes Alyssa's hand, and she feels her skin tingle at the warmth of his palm. Let's go, he says, and because he's guiding her by the hand, she can only follow. Where are we going? She asks, noticing they're climbing a grand staircase. My room, Ethan replies. Alyssa's eyes grow wide. Once they enter the huge bedroom, Ethan finally lets go of her hand, quickly walking to the window. He partially lifts the blinds and looks outside. They're here, she hears him say while she looks around at the spacious interior. This room alone is as big as their entire house. Okay, let me explain what I need from you, Ethan says. She turns to him as he approaches her, calling her by name again. Alyssa. He grabs her by both arms, and she remains staring at him in confusion. He sits her down on the bed. She stiffens, not sure if he's about to do something physical. Mr. Ethan, she manages to say in her anxiety. Listen to me, Alyssa, he begins, still gripping her arms. Do me a favor. I saved you, and I hope you can save me too. She's baffled by his words. How did he save her, and in what way is she supposed to save him? What do you mean, she asks. You paid my aunt for me, so aren't you just going to? Listen, Alyssa, he interrupts. I'm Ethan, and I'm the youngest son of the Anderson family. Alyssa's jaw drops. She might be poor, but everyone in Riverdale knows the Andersons, the richest family in town. Their name is on every major building, condominium, shopping mall, business establishment, and real estate development. You're an Anderson, she gasps in disbelief. Yes, I'm the youngest son. I used my own money to buy you, Alyssa. I can pay more, as long as you do what I need. He releases her and starts pacing across the large bedroom. Alyssa can't help noticing that he has a great physique, like the guy she only sees on TV or in magazines. My parents want me to get engaged to a woman they chose for me, and they didn't even bother to ask if I agree, he continues, running a hand through his hair. Engaged? Alyssa repeats, watching him sink down on a sofa. He runs his fingers through his hair again, as though stressed. Yes, they picked out a woman for me to marry. But aren't you too young for marriage? Alyssa points out, trying to be sympathetic. That's not the point. The point is, they're dictating a major life decision that should be mine to make. What I hate most is that they're forcing someone on me that I don't want, he says angrily, and Alyssa swallows hard, unsure how to respond. Anyway, you're only 16. Maybe you can't fully grasp this yet, Ethan says as he stands up and peers out the window, then looks back at Alyssa, who's still sitting silently on the huge bed. Here's the deal, pretend to be my girlfriend, Alyssa. What? Your girlfriend? She blurts, startled. Yes, or do you think you can refuse? Did you forget that you and your aunt already took the $200? That wasn't part of the agreement, she protests. He smirks. Why, would you rather I get my money's worth by sleeping with you? He asks. The directness of his words makes her skin crawl. She can't bring herself to answer. He's right that pretending to be his girlfriend is easier than giving him her innocence. What will Alyssa do? Will she agree to Ethan's plan? Stay tuned to Dark Voices to find out. Before she can speak or decide, Ethan grabs her hand again and leads her to the balcony door in his room. The view outside is breathtaking. She's only ever seen such scenery in movies or daydreams. As she stands there in awe, Ethan takes advantage of the moment to set his plan in motion. He wraps an arm around her waist and pulls her close, pressing a firm kiss to her lips. She smells his fresh, clean scent. She feels too stunned to move, practically frozen in place. She wants to push him away, but she's also self-conscious about physically resisting such a wealthy man. And some part of her is simply overwhelmed. Once Ethan is satisfied, he ends the kiss, right when Alyssa realizes she might be enjoying it. She blushes deeply as they lock eyes, and he smiles like he's just accomplished a mission. Then he looks down, and she follows his gaze to see several people on the ground floor looking up at them. Judging by their expressions, they aren't pleased. Alyssa nearly trembles at the intensity of their stares. Ethan grips her hand again, leading her out of the balcony and downstairs where these people are waiting. Good afternoon, Aunt Emily, Uncle John, he greets them casually, giving each a light cheek kiss as though nothing unusual has happened. He doesn't even glance at the stunning young woman with them, Mia, apparently. She's sitting between her parents, looking close to tears. Nothing is good about this afternoon, Ethan. What on earth is going on now? I'm tired of your games, scolds a voice, and Alyssa realizes it's Ethan's mother, who looks at her with clear disgust. Oops, my bad, Ethan says. Let me introduce my loving girlfriend, Alyssa. Babe, meet my mom and our family friends, Uncle John, Aunt Emily, and their daughter Mia, my childhood friend. He emphasizes childhood friend as if to provoke his mother. Mia abruptly stands, tears threatening to spill, and runs off. Her mother hurries after her, along with her father. Look what you've done, Ethan, his mother exclaims. She massages her temple, then scowls at Alyssa. Can you please tell the housekeeper to get me some cold water? Hurry! Ethan leaves to do what his mother said, and Alyssa is left standing there with the older woman. I know what you want, the woman says. Name your price. She speaks with a cold arrogance. What do you mean, ma'am? Alyssa asks, her head bowed. Don't pretend you don't know, young lady. I'm sure all you're after is my son's money. Tell me how much, the woman sneers. Alyssa can't find words, her cheeks burning in humiliation. Her vision blurs from threatening tears. She clenches her fists to stop her hands from shaking. With all due respect, ma'am, she says finally, I'm not after your son's money. In fact, he was the one who approached me. The older woman laughs harshly, startling Alyssa. That sounds like some cheap soap opera, dear. Look at yourself. Do you seriously think my son would chase someone like you? You don't even have any fashion sense, she sneers, eyeing Alyssa's plain white t-shirt and jeans. She circles her as though inspecting her. All right, I'll give you $1 million. Now leave my son alone, the older woman declares, stopping in front of Alyssa and lifting her chin. Alyssa doesn't respond, holding back her low-class instincts. She wants to pull away or fight back, but she respects her elders. Is $1 million too little? The woman prods, still looking her over with disdain. Alyssa steps back, putting a bit of distance between them. So it's true what I've seen in movies, Alyssa murmurs. I used to think it only happened in stories, that wealthy people think they can buy and trample on poor people. Your behavior disgusts me, ma'am. You rude little brat, the woman yells, raising a hand to slap her. Alyssa closes her eyes, bracing for impact, but it never lands. Stop it. Ethan's voice cuts in. Alyssa opens her eyes to see that he's caught his mother's hand in midair. How dare you bring that girl into my house, his mother demands angrily. Where did you pick up someone so? Alyssa can't bear hearing more of these accusations. She turns and runs, tears streaming down her face. The mansion is confusing, but she manages to find her way out. Out of breath, she sits at the curb, crying into her arms. A moment later, someone sits beside her. She already knows it's Ethan from his scent alone. I'm sorry, he says, voice filled with regret. I'll return every cent you paid for me, Ethan, Alyssa says between sobs. Why, he asks. I thought you had agreed. So this is what I'm worth? Being trampled and judged? My whole life, never in my life have I been called such cruel names. I can't allow this. I wasn't raised to be stepped on by your family, she fires back, tears still falling. Ethan remains silent, absorbing her words. All right, I won't force you, he says at last. Because I don't have that right. Don't bother returning the money. Just consider it my help for you and your family. Then he stands up, dusts himself off, and walks away. She's left speechless. She wipes her tears and stands as well, starting the long journey home on foot. She checks her pocket and finds only $10. She swallows hard. Walk on, Alyssa, she tells herself. It's still a long way home. She trudges along quite a distance until a car pulls up beside her. She tenses, ready to bolt, but the window slides down, revealing Ethan in the driver's seat. What are you doing, Alyssa? Get in, he yells in frustration, and she climbs inside at once. Alyssa, maybe this is goodbye. Perhaps we won't see each other again after this. I know you're a good person, and you didn't deserve the hurtful words thrown at you. I'm sorry, Ethan Carter says, gripping her shoulders, then pulling her into a tight hug. Without looking back, he walks to his car and drives away. She only sees the back of the car as it speeds off. She feels her chest tighten at his words. Who would have thought someone from that high society could understand her predicament? She shrugs it off and goes inside the house. As soon as she enters, her aunt, the root of it all, hurries over. Alyssa, you're home, my child, Aunt Ellen says, rushing to get her a glass of water, which she hands to Alyssa. After Alyssa drinks, the aunt hugs her. I'm sorry, my child. I really didn't know what else to do. I was desperate. We had barely a scoop of rice left, and we're already being evicted by Inen because it's been 7 months since we paid rent, she says, tears streaming as she holds Alyssa's hand. Alyssa knows she can't blame her aunt entirely. Aunt Ellen was supporting the two siblings with no source of money besides laundry work. Aunt, it's okay. I understand, Alyssa replies, returning her aunt's hug and stifling a sob. Did he hurt you? Are you in pain? Did he use protection? Did he abuse you? Her aunt asks, checking Alyssa's body for bruises or other signs. Alyssa grasps her aunt's shoulders. Aunt, no, he didn't do anything to me, she answers calmly. Her aunt studies her face for a few moments. Oh, you silly girl, don't be shy, Aunt Ellen says, tapping Alyssa's elbow. No, Aunt, I'm telling the truth. He didn't do anything. We just walked around and talked, Alyssa lies. She knows if her aunt ever found out about how Cynthia Carter had belittled her for being poor, her aunt might barge over to the mansion and pick a fight. Suddenly, Aunt Ellen bursts into tears. Oh, Lord, thank you so much, child. She hugs Alyssa tightly. After giving thanks to various saints and calming down, she hands Alyssa an envelope. Here, this is for you, she says. What's this, Aunt? Alyssa asks. I don't know. Someone in a Ford stopped by to deliver it. Go on, take it inside and rest, Aunt Ellen says, stepping out of the house. Alyssa goes to her room, sits on her cot, and immediately checks the envelope's contents. She gasps and drops it. $2 million in a check, she whispers. Her eyes catch a slip of paper that reads, "Leave my son alone, or else I will not spare your family and will make you suffer. Cynthia Carter, *. It feels like her heart is being crushed. She can't sleep the entire night. At dawn, she resolves to return the money, but later that morning, they are jolted awake by the sound of people yelling outside, banging on the door. Fire! Fire! Wake up! Your house is on fire, neighbors shout frantically, pounding on the wood. Chaos follows. They can't save any belongings, only themselves and the small bag containing the check. As everyone scrambles, Alyssa notices a white car parked not far away, its window slightly open. After a few moments, a face emerges, a face she recognizes as Cynthia Carter, smirking as though enjoying the sight of the blaze. With everything burned, Alyssa, her aunt, and Jake Carter decide to leave that place. They end up in New York, bringing with them the money Ethan had given, plus the check from his mother. Alyssa uses it to start over, promising herself she will repay it in the future. She begins with a small hardware store that gradually expands. Now it's become a full-fledged company supplying well-known hardware shops nationwide. Stay tuned to Dark Voices for the next chapter of Alyssa's incredible journey from poverty to power. The next day, she arrives early at the company, her eyes still bloodshot from lack of sleep after reliving the memories. She has a board meeting that morning with other investors scheduled to present. She rushes in, coffee in hand from Starbucks. Suddenly, she collides with a chest as solid as concrete. Her belongings go flying to the floor, and worse, her expensive business attire is soaked in spilled coffee. "I'm sorry," she says quickly, picking up her things from the floor. "It's not okay." "I'm dead," says a male voice. She freezes. His voice sounds oddly familiar. She keeps gathering her things, and once she picks them up and straightens, she recognizes him. "Ethan," she mumbles, her voice failing. He stares at her. "Wait, Alyssa," he says, as if confirming it's indeed her. Instead of replying, Alyssa glances around and realizes they're drawing attention from staff. She also notices Mang Kaner, the head guard, anxiously observing them. She doesn't look back at Ethan again and runs off, reaching an elevator right before it closes. "Alyssa, wait," she hears him shout as the elevator doors slide shut. She breathes in relief as the elevator descends, yet she still can't shake off the mixed emotions overwhelming her. "Good morning, ma'am," Laura Benson, her secretary, greets when Alyssa emerges. Alyssa simply nods and glances behind her, worried Ethan might have followed. "Is something wrong, ma'am?" "You look like you've seen a ghost," Laura observes. Alyssa gulps. "No, I'm okay, Laura. Just get all the documents ready. Call me when everyone's already in the conference room," she instructs, then hurries into her office. Inside, she checks her reflection in the mirror, straightening her outfit. "Thank God my makeup's still okay," she whispers, lightly pressing her cheeks, realizing how silly she must look. She shakes her head. She feels both excitement and fear, worried Ethan's family might belittle her once more. Forget about him, she tells herself, trying to focus on reading through some documents until the various real estate companies present. Eventually, her secretary calls her to the meeting, and she composes herself before entering the conference room. The presentations go smoothly for each CEO. Soon, only one presenter remains. She keeps her head lowered, preoccupied with reading the files in front of her, when suddenly the room erupts in applause, causing her to lift one eyebrow. She almost falls off her seat upon seeing Ethan Carter at the front. She knows he's just as shocked, judging by how his eyes widen. "Thanks for the applause. I haven't even started yet," Ethan jokes to the people in the room. After they both recover from the surprise, Ethan presents professionally. His presentation is excellent, perfectly convincing with no errors. When it ends, Alyssa announces which offers she's accepting or rejecting, and Ethan's is one of those she rejects. Once the meeting adjourns, employees and applicants quietly leave, leaving her alone, double-checking some other papers. Then someone sits beside her. It's Ethan. Alyssa, I'm really not bothered about being rejected, he says. But why? Was my presentation lacking? Was anything unclear? I'm certain I did everything thoroughly. You know I could help your company grow. I could even buy your company, but I didn't. In truth, there was nothing really wrong with his pitch. He was likely the best and most skilled of them all, known in his field. No one usually questions his capability. Perhaps this was the first time he was rejected. So you're here just to show off your ability? Alyssa asks, still not looking at him. Thank you for not buying my company, because I wouldn't sell it to you anyway. Then why reject me? Is it because you're mad at me? Did I ever do anything to you back then? As far as I know, Alyssa, I didn't do anything wrong. Did you know I'm actually happy I found you again? I've spent so long looking for you, Ethan says. She refuses to meet his gaze, even though his words touch her. It means a lot that he had looked for her. She hadn't expected that. Talk to me, Alyssa, he pleads. I don't want any connection to you. I don't want your mother knowing we met again. I refuse to let her humiliate me again with her words. So please, Ethan, just stop. I've already forgotten everything, she answers, her tone resolute. Ethan falls silent. Alyssa collects her papers and stands up. She waits for him to persist, because she senses one more push might make her give in. Part of her wants to work with him, but she also fears being hurt again. But he says nothing, so she leaves for her office. She feels oddly disappointed that he didn't try harder. It's only 10 o'clock in the morning, so she busies herself with work the rest of the day, losing track of time. Sometime later, there's a knock on her office door. One of her staff enters, carrying food. The smell of fried chicken and care makes her mouth water. Smells good. Who's celebrating a birthday? She asks out of habit. Usually, someone sends her food if it's an employee's birthday. No birthday, ma'am, the staff member says, looking puzzled. Oh, then where did this come from? She asks. Ma'am, it's from Mr. Carter, actually. He sent food to everyone who attended the meeting earlier, the staff member replies with a smile. Alyssa arches an eyebrow. What is he up to now? She mutters. Too bad I can't reject free food, she whispers under her breath after the staff leaves. She starts eating. While she eats, someone walks in. She doesn't look up, assuming it's Laura, nearly dropping her fried chicken in shock when she hears a voice that could only be Ethan's. Is it good? He asks. She nearly yelps. What are you doing trying to kill me with fright? Sorry, I've been knocking for a while, Ethan says. You didn't even look up. You seemed really hungry, he says. She had been so engrossed in eating that she hadn't heard his knocking at all. You can't refuse a blessing, you know. Besides, I didn't get to eat breakfast, so I was starving, she justifies. I'm sorry about what my mom said to you back then, but why did you suddenly disappear? Ethan Carter asks. I had to stay away from you, no second thoughts, she replies. Why? He presses. Because something would happen to my family if I didn't keep my distance. Your mother had the place we were renting set on fire, and she paid me $2 million to stay away from you, she says frankly. Will Ethan believe her accusation against his mother? Will this wealthy man be disappointed that she accepted 2 million pesos from his mother? Stay tuned to Dark Voices for the next chapter of this gripping tale. I know, Ethan Carter answers with a shrug. She looks at him, thinking that reaction is over the top. That's it? Aren't you mad that I took money from your mom? She asks. Why would I be angry? That's just how she is. She's been like that forever, and what you're saying isn't impossible, he goes on. I don't care how many millions she gave you, Alyssa, to stay away from me. I can see you used it for good, anyway. For her, that money is pocket change, he says with a smile, picking up a French fry from her plate. She continues eating, and when she finishes, he even helps her tidy up. So, Alyssa, are you ready to supply my projects? Ethan Carter asks seriously once they've finished cleaning up, and she returns to her chair. You know what, Alyssa, this project will get your company recognized nationwide. Believe me, it'll help you a lot, he says, trying to persuade her. It's true, this project is extremely important, and there's nothing wrong if she accepts. Upon Alyssa's agreement, Ethan Carter suddenly pulls her in for a hug. Yes, thank you, Alyssa, he exclaims. After embracing her tightly, he then holds her by both shoulders. Alyssa stares at his face, surprised. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I startled you, business partner, Ethan Carter says, offering his hand for a handshake. She smiles and graciously shakes it, thinking how soft his hand still is, like a baby's, she muses. Let's have dinner later, Alyssa. Let's celebrate, he says, grinning widely. She hesitates, thinking, is this a date, Alyssa, let's eat out later. Please don't misunderstand. I just want to celebrate because it's been years since we last saw each other, he goes on, noticing she's a bit spaced out. Sure, wait, no, I'm busy, she blurts back in confusion. I mean, I still have a lot to do tonight. I have to work overtime, she corrects. No worries, I can wait, Alyssa, he says, then heads straight out of her office. For real, he didn't even leave his number, she mutters, then returns to her work. It's almost 9 p.m. by the time she's still not finished. She'd forgotten about her agreement with Ethan Carter in her busyness. After all, it's mid-month, so she has to sign off on all the recently submitted paperwork, plus the company is giving out bonuses, and she needs to double-check everything is correct. A while later, her stomach growls. She eyes the remaining papers and, seeing it's only a little more to go, she decides to press on. She must have dozed off because she wakes with a start when she feels a heavy cloth placed over her chest. She sits upright in alarm. Frog, she shrieks, throwing off the blanket that someone had laid over her. Alyssa, are you okay? Asks a voice from behind. She turns around. Ethan Carter is standing there, holding her aircon remote. Ethan, she utters his name. Alyssa, I thought you'd gone home. It's late. I've been waiting on the ground floor for hours, but you never came down. I realized I never asked for your number, he admits, scratching his head. What are you doing here? She asks. I'm checking on you. The guard told me you hadn't left, so I came upstairs. Turns out you were sleeping. You must be from the North Pole, you were practically freezing but still sound asleep, Ethan Carter says jokingly. She sniffs the air, picking up the aroma of food. Her stomach is growling so loudly that she feels like a monkey searching for the source of the scent. She looks over to the center table in her office, where a spread of food sits waiting. Ethan Carter, noticing her gaze, walks over quickly. Shall we? He says. I told you earlier we'd have dinner, but you were asleep, so I ended up just ordering food, he explains. She checks the clock. It's 2 a.m., she exclaims, surprised. You've been here that long? Yeah, 4 or 5 hours, roughly. Why? She asks, unclear. He shrugs. Nothing else. Aren't they looking for you at home? Your mom might get mad and storm over here, she says in a panic. Ethan Carter laughs, almost mischievously. I'm 27, you're 26. We're adults, not teenagers. Come on, let's eat. Maybe you're just hungry, he teases. They both settle down to eat. She rolls her eyes a bit upon seeing the wine bottle on the table. Seems like you came prepared, she remarks. Of course, I ordered the food from Solera, so there's wine, he answers, somewhat abashed. She takes some food and eats. She burns her mouth slightly. Hey, slow down, he says. But it's hot, she says, wincing. Wait, you've been here for 5 hours. Shouldn't the food be cold by now, she adds, curiously. Oh, right. I used your microwave in the pantry. I reheated everything 4 times since earlier so that if you woke up, it would still be warm, he says with a grimace, chuckling. And yeah, I wasn't alone for a while. My helper was here, as well as my driver and assistant, he adds. She says nothing and keeps eating, feeling shy about his effort. Thanks for doing this, Ethan, she says once she finishes her meal. Hey, no big deal, compared to everything you did for me back then," he replies with a smile. Afterwards, they chat about business. They ask each other questions about their current work until Ethan Carter's phone rings. The screen shows the name Ma, which sounds vaguely familiar to Alyssa, though she can't place it. Ethan Carter just presses the volume button to silence it, continuing his story. But the phone keeps ringing, call after call. Soon, a man in a white uniform, clearly Ethan Carter's assistant, given the tablet in his hands, enters her office. "Sir Ethan, your wife is on the phone," he says, handing over the device. She and Ethan Carter exchange a look. "Wife," she mouths, asking him what he means. So this is the end of Ethan and Alyssa's story? She thinks he apparently already has a spouse. What will happen to them now? Stay tuned to Dark Voices for the next chapter. "Give me a second, Alyssa," Ethan Carter says, stepping out of her office to speak with his wife. Alyssa stays behind, feeling as though her mind is adrift. A moment later, Ethan Carter re-enters. "I'm sorry, Alyssa, but I think I have to go." "Get ready, I'll drive you home," he says. "Aha," she responds absently. "I said I'll drive you home," he repeats. "No, thanks, Ethan. I'll stay here." "I've got a room right there," she answers, pointing to a door within her office. Indeed, she has a bedroom in the office where she can rest whenever she's too tired or lazy to head back to her condo. Ethan Carter nods, then steps out, assistant trailing behind. Moments later, a woman in a white uniform enters, followed by men dressed in black. They clear away the leftover food and any trash Ethan Carter had. Without a word, they leave once they finish cleaning, leaving Alyssa alone, 1,000 thoughts in her mind. When the surroundings are finally still, she gets up from the sofa and goes to her computer. She quickly searches for Ethan Carter online. Tons of articles pop up, as though he were a celebrity hounded by the press. She scrolls through countless stolen shots. She clicks on an article titled "The Grand Wedding of the Year, Ethan and Mia,"